I'm going to demonstrate a couple of features in the Beaker browser and also an experimental application that we've been working on. Over on the right-hand side, I am in a live chat WebRTC peer-to-peer connection, not Beaker, but over Talkie.io. We have my buddy Don. He's sharing his screen. He has Beaker, the Beaker browser open. And over on the left-hand side, we have my Beaker browser open. We just started a meeting. We want to share some meeting notes. I'm the note taker, and so we would like to. He'd like to be able to see the notes as I write them in a Google Docs kind of experience, a live document editing stuff. So I'm going to head over to RJ Steinert or wiki RJ Steinert Hashbase.io, where I have this experimental application called Aloha Beaker Wiki. I'm going to open that up. And I'm not going to write the notes directly in this instance of this DAT archive. I'm going to make a fork of it that's going to be like a copy. It's like a new document. It'll be for our meeting notes. So I open up the sidebar in Beaker. Gives us lots of options. In particular, I want to do this fork, create my own copy of this application and also its content. And I will call this Don and RJ's meeting notes. And now I'll create the fork. All right, so now we have a fork of that meeting notes application, and I'm going to send that. I'm going to open it up here actually first. Open the index HTML. It's going to load up in my browser. And I'm going to send that over to my buddy Don so he can see the meeting notes. Don, go ahead and check in your Talkie.io. I just pasted a DAT URL you can paste into your Beaker browser. All right. We both now have it loaded up. So what's happening is when I edit some text here, as I make changes, we should be seeing those over on the right-hand side, over on Don's screen. There it goes. We now have a little world. I'm going to delete some other text. Let's make some meeting notes. Important agenda items. All your DATs are mine. All right, so as you see, as I'm editing content over here on the left-hand side of the screen, my buddy Don is also seeing those updates on the right-hand side of the screen. So what's going on here is, first off, in order to get this to work for yourself, for your buddy to see what the updates you are making on this page is, they have to have this lightning bolt checked. What does that mean? Well, a little background on what's going on in this application. So when we make changes to this application, or to the what's going on inside of this application, there's some JavaScript that is running that is scraping the page, taking the contents of that, using the DAT archive web API to write to its own self, to write to this index HTML file that is in this DAT archive. So this is like the first time that natively via a browser that an application like a JavaScript application has been able to overwrite itself. And so as it overwrites itself, it also commits to the dat archive, which gets distributed to the peers that are viewing this dat archive. And Don is the one peer. So he sees one peer over here. I see one peer over here. We are each other's peers in this dat archive. And so any changes that I make here, to the dat archive, he will see over on his end. And again, he wires that up in his Beaker browser by having this lightning bolt checked, so that his Beaker browser knows that anytime there is a change in the dat archive, to automatically reload, and he'll see the changes. Some of the next steps that we think would be really exciting for this kind of application model would be able to, for example, have Don be able to make edits on this page. So he can, right now, he can make edits on this page, but he can't actually write those edits to the file system. Dat works in a way where, Don, if you open up your right sidebar, you'll see that when you're looking at this dat archive, actually not that right sidebar, the click where it says one peer. Yeah. This opens up the dat sidebar. You can see that it's marked as read-only. And so when you're looking at an archive that is someone else's, you're not allowed to write to it. Only the person who created that archive is allowed to. And that's kind of it has pros and cons to that, but it's mostly pro because you know that no one's going to come along and visit your dat archive through the Beaker browser and just edit it, and that other people will see those edits and spam your site. But it does have, but what if I wanted Don, for example, to be able to make edits? We're hoping that maybe in the future, we've heard about this idea called multi-writer, that I might be able to send some kind of key to Don so that he would also be able to make updates and write to the archive, distribute those updates to the peers. But we're also thinking about how, well, Dat already does peer-to-peer communication. What if as Don makes edits in his browser, if that's sending a message to my browser that is then, as a proxy, then making the edits that he makes here, making them actually in my browser, which has permission to write to this archive. So those are some of the ideas that we're thinking about, and we're going to continue to play with these kinds of applications. Thanks for watching.